So when you did, like, you were talking about, like, your team. Do you have any aliens on your team? Is this like Space Jam?
Yes, I believe I do, yes.
So before we get started, subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We know you guys are listening and sharing the show, but you got to hit the subscribe button and pay the fee. We don't have any sponsors, and that is our emotional sponsorship. So without further adu, I'm not going to do the German accent. I almost just did it, but we have Julie Kraus.
I didn't even know we were starting.
Julie Kraus.
Hi.
Well, we're starting. We're starting. We talked a little bit before the show, so now we actually know you pretty well, I feel like.
Yeah.
We're besties. You are a psychic medium.
Yes.
That is like your professional, that's like your professional title.
Yeah, I would say intuitive life coach, but everyone around me would want to smack me and say, like, no, you're a psychic medium.
Okay, so why, but like intuitive life coach?
Mm-hmm.
Why
It's
is
softer.
that? It's softer because when people think of psychics, they're like,
They're afraid of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want people to be afraid of me, you know? But that's my own thing I have to break through. And I have to be like, who cares? Just
I'm
get to
afraid
know
of you.
me. No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Move closer.
Oh shit, she's like,
kidding.
oh
I'm
man.
She's calling you out.
I'm kidding.
She like starts like levitating me, and I grab the didgeridoo and just get back.
You have a didgeridoo?
Yeah, right here.
Can you do it?
No.
Oh.
No, we had it for John, my business partner. He's a large man, and he has the lung capacity to didge.
I love them. That's like serious.
I watch didgeridoo videos probably once a week. Nobody should be surprised by this because it's just like that sound. I find when I'm reading, sometimes like I can read very quickly, but like if there's a lot of noises going on, I like just put my headphones in and I'll put on like Spanish guitar or like didgeridoo or like pirate shanties.
So that you
weird melodies of just nonsense to like
keep. You like really grounded music then. It like brings you down.
Yeah, I like I used to listen to a lot of music, and then I got more and more into podcasts. Just because it wasn't my intention, and then I would try and go back to music. Like now in the car, I listen to pretty much only podcasts.
Yeah.
But like I'll go back and listen to like rap music or different things that I used to be into. And I've noticed now that I've gotten like more in touch with just like kind of like my mental health or, you know, just my overall being, I've noticed that sometimes like that music doesn't necessarily make me feel that great. Not necessarily particularly rap music in general, but like a variety of music that I'll go back and listen to, and it's not triggering. It doesn't make me remind me of a certain event. Like some songs do, like they'll remind you like childhood or different things. But I just noticed that like I'm just like, this is kind of like when I was learning or filling myself up with like whatever said podcast was about. I felt a lot better than when I was just like listening to this music. So I started getting into like Spanish guitar or different things that are just like more just music and not like as vocal. I have no idea about that. Maybe an intuitive life coach knows more about that than I do.
Well, I totally relate to you. Like I'm so that way. When I'm in the car, it's either silence or podcasts. I like to learn a lot, but I think that maybe one of the reasons why you listen to like such like denser musics, like the didgeridoo and Spanish guitar and all that kind of stuff, it's super grounded and it's like from the earth, like Mother Gaia. And to me, that tells me that you're very in your head. You're not like, you don't stop thinking. And if you don't stop thinking, then you need to be more in your body and you need to be more grounded and you need to be pulled down. So that's why you crave that type of music, which is really rad.
This is going to be an interesting show.
Oh, am I bringing you to places that?
No, you're like, you're really like, you've known me like 20 minutes and you like, that makes a lot of sense. Like that very much describes me.
Yeah. Well, so yes.
Yeah.
So I think actually instinctively you're doing such the best thing for yourself to be able to balance out your body and your mind. You said when you're studying or something? Is that?
I mean, I read a lot.
Okay, when you're reading, right.
So I'll put it on to kind of just, like, if I don't have anything on, it's just kind of hard for me to, like, stay focused. Like, I'm a really good reader, but if there's, like, 8 million things going on, it's just, like, I get irritated.
Yeah,
I'm just like, can you shut the up?
Yeah, because all the energy is circulating up here too much. So you said you do jujitsu?
Yes.
That's great. So it's like helping you. So when you're driving to there or wherever you do it, make sure that you listen to some type of music that does open your heart up a bit, that like you like really get into. That makes you feel good. And then when you go to a class, you're going to release everything that's in your head. You're going to leave it on the mat.
Interesting. I'm going to have to try this.
Try it.
I'll
See what
try.
happens.
I promise.
Do you have trouble sleeping?
I did have trouble sleeping up until I've been working really hard at it. I sleep now between 6.5 hours and 7.5 hours a night.
Oh, that's good.
But it took me, like, I was sleeping 4.
Your mind?
Yeah, I would wake up between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m. without an alarm clock. Every day.
Yeah.
And then I would just get up and go. And now I'm just like, over time, I don't really know exactly, because I just tried to do so many things at once just to, like, fix all those issues that I'm not exactly sure. I did myself a disservice trying to figure out, like, what actually helped get it done. It might have been all of those things, but I would just start to just try and stay in the bed a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, having to get out of the bed, I would just be like, all right, I got to stay here for 5 minutes. Sometimes that'd be a real struggle, because it'd be like,
You should try meditating.
I have been doing a lot of meditating.
Oh, good. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's it was like I can't meditate on my own. I use an app. I see, like, a meditation specialist. And like that person and that tool kind of, like, help me meditate. I don't really do it like the traditional sense where you know, you're by yourself. It's, like, silent. It's like I'll put my headphones in. I'll use the Calm app. I'll do the guided meditation just because I guess I'm new at it, and I need that, like, organization or that structure,
right,
to, like, do that.
Have you ever heard of binaural beats?
So that's what got me into the Spanish guitar and all that other stuff. I had a friend of ours, and then additionally Colin, who introduced me to like wavelength music, like just sounds, like picking different, like, vibrations to listen to like expose, like, what you want out of your feelings. It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but it's like you listen.
Truth to it.
They would share with me different things, like, all right, listen to this frequency or this tone when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I used to read when I got up in the morning and journal then. I do it at the end of the day now, just to, like, switch it up, and that works for me. But in the mornings when I would wake up, like, fired up like that, that's one of the things I think helped me improve my sleep, because I would get up at that same time every morning, and people would be like, how are you reading all of this information every week? I'm like, well, if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and the gym doesn't open until 5, like, you have 2 hours alone with your mind that, like, you have to do something.
That's a really hard time. It becomes super lonely too, and very frustrating, and you can get angry at yourself, and it's just a hard time.
It was like, for a long time, it served me. It helped me, you know, I was like that for a long time. So it helped me build my business. It helped me, you know, do different things to kind of accelerate what I was doing professionally, or different things. Like, I would get so much done. So it started out with, like, me doing, like, emails or research or different things in the morning. And I'm like, I cannot touch the computer that hour early in the morning. Like, this is not good. Because I would get into these, like, rabbit holes of information. So then I was like, no more
conspiracy theories. We can go
science, conspiracy
I
theories.
feel like my head is small. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there.
Yeah, maybe we can get her some, like, shims.
Shimmer
head out.
I never thought that I had a small head until today. Okay, good. Sorry.
That's hilarious. Can you wear hats?
Yeah.
Do you look okay in hats? Because my wife's head's pretty small too, and sometimes she'll put a hat on, and I'll be like, "You look like you have a pea head."
Yeah.
It's just like you're like that's the smallest hat I've ever seen, and it's still too big on your head. This isn't good.
Yeah. So I love hats. Sometimes I'm like, I don't look great in them, but sometimes I have to force myself out of like my comfort zone and just force myself to do it and keep looking in the mirror and be like, you got this.
You rock this hat.
Until I feel good in it. So.
I feel like you could wear a fedora.
Huh?
Yeah, just like this outfit and everything. Don't you see like a fedora here?
I can see it.
Yeah, because he's looking at you through like the professional lens here. Do you see fedora?
I can see fedora.
My husband would laugh. I wore this because it was hot. It's so hot outside.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I thought you, for instance, you were like, I'm hot.
Oh, no, I couldn't
outfit
say
I
that.
wore.
I'm
This is a fresh outfit.
I just told you that I had to look in the mirror with a hat on and be like, you got this. I'm not going to be someone that's like, you're hot. I have to like hype myself up to wear a hat.
I look fresh in this outfit.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, if I was a lady, I would wear a dress in the summertime only.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you gotta let it breathe.
If I was a lady.
Yeah, if I was a lady. I mean, I guess I could wear a dress. It's like, you know, okay these days.
Wear linen dresses, you know, you'd be fine.
Just wear a kilt.
A kilt.
Yeah.
I've seen dudes with kilts. Shit's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That still seems hot.
Yeah, kilts are kind of heavy.
Yeah.
It's kilt fabric's kind of like, yeah.
It has to be a linen kilt, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then it'll like blow up.
Yeah, nice and breezy.
That wouldn't be good.
All right. Well, yeah, true. You need to strap it down.
Just like blind the psychic medium with my kilt crotch. Like, oh no.
It doesn't work. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so binaural beats, I would listen to that stuff while I read, and then I would look up and like it'd be time to go, and I'd be like, oh, wow. Like that. Maybe this stuff actually works.
Yeah.
So
I swear by it. When I started doing this type of work and meditating on people, I would listen to binaural beats for the third eye. And I felt like it was a huge tool for me. Are you taking notes, Gilmore?
Yeah.
I like it. And so it really, really helped me because it reprograms your brainwaves to help you reach the type of reality or energy that you want.
So, is that because your brain is vibrating and then that stuff kind of just, explain it to me, I guess, as best you can.
So, because...
Stop taking notes.
Because of, so binaural, it's two. So in one ear, there's certain hertz, and then in another ear, there's different hertz. And they come together and they create your brain waves to reprogram themselves. And so if you're having trouble with sleep, I would suggest trying to just go on YouTube and look up binaural beats for sleep and always use it with headphones. And I don't know if you're a back sleeper or something, that would suck if you're not, because it's the best way to do it, you know. And lay fully just open with like all your meridian lines and chi channels just flowing, you know, because that's another thing is maybe you're too tense.
That would also be valid.
I mean, I would say so. So, you know, get like a really good, juicy nighttime routine going. Do you do a nighttime routine? Seems like you're really into personal development.
Yeah. I've been on this path since 2016.
Oh, good.
But it's probably been very accelerated like this last year to 6 months. Just because like it just reached a point where it was just like too much. And I was like, I have to change.
What's too much?
Well, I guess like in 2016, I was still struggling in business. I was in like another relationship that just like wasn't that great. I was trying to go to architecture school while doing all of that. So I just found like different people that were just like, you know, business coaches or different things like that on YouTube that were just like very validating or gave me direction on like, you know, how to just be aggressive and take over the world. And then like I went through that phase, and then, you know, you reach points where you're like, oh, wow, I'm not a great leader. So you start learning about that stuff. And then like over the course of time, like when you go through the developments, you start like uncovering other things about yourself that you're like, I should work on that. And then probably like, I don't know, probably like around when I got Rambo, my dog, I was seeing a counselor, and like we had talked about some things, and like we're trying to like, because I just like, I work at a different level than like a lot of people that I've experienced, where like I'm just kind of like moving all the time. And I feel different things, like you know, I have a very like, I don't know what the mindset you would call it. It's like I very much feel like if you're not actively moving forward, you're gonna lose. Like something's gonna happen.
So you're like a A+ student.
I got an F in behavior and an A in everything else. Yeah.
So I kind of mean like in life. Like you want to go and do it and smash it and keep going and keep looking forward and keep checking off the list. So you're super masculine in your energy.
Is that right? Interesting.
So there's 2 types of energy.
Okay.
Well, there's more, okay. But in this yin-yang situation, there's feminine energy and masculine energy. And I don't mean like feminine meaning girl. I don't mean that. Feminine, I mean your intuition and going within and meditating and sitting with yourself and going to yourself for the answers. And then masculine is like checking off the boxes, go, always thinking about goals, trying to be better, asking everyone else for their thoughts and opinions. And trying to seek outside of yourself all the time for the answers instead of, you know, being with yourself.
Is there a way, because I'm very much like goals and achievements and crossing boxes off.
Yeah.
But there's like a large part of me that could give 2 shits what anybody else thinks. Like what Gilmar says is important to me.
Yeah.
But like I take very little critique from like
so
the
for
outside
you
world.
Going and listening to like podcasts, you're taking it from the outside world. When you are going
that makes a lot of sense
to therapists or meditation coaches or whomever, I think it's healthy to do. We always want to learn from other people, but I think that so many answers are inside of us if we were just to stop and listen. And we, as a society, we don't do that. We're always just consuming. And when you're consuming all the time, it becomes super overwhelming. And we don't know. It's almost like the analogy I give is like, you know, when you're in college and you realize that there's no one to clean up after you because your mom's not there, and the trash can is totally full with like just crumpled up papers and shit. And you just keep throwing the stuff on top and it's overflowing and overflowing. That's what happens when you're constantly consuming and you're not releasing. So you have to be able to release and like go within. And when you go within, you kind of recycle. Oh, I'm not used to this, sorry. You kind of like recycle and release energy as well. And you'll notice like you are the smartest person. You are so smart when you go within and you ask yourself a question, or you go in your heart center. That's what I teach everyone, is to get out of your mind and go into your heart center, because your heart center is going to teach you something that's very neutral but very high vibrational, and it's going to offer a higher perspective than you have ever thought about, because you're actually feeling it. And when you feel it, so when you use your intuition, you feel it before you think it. Okay, so if you walk down a dark alleyway and you feel safe and you don't think anyone's around or anything, but there's this like instinctual feeling something's not right, you feel it, and then you start thinking like, I should get out of here. And that's what happens with our intuition, is that we feel it. So the heart is going to start to make you feel it, and you're just going to kind of know. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah, because one of the things that I've probably worked on a lot like this past year was like being able to like sit with myself.
Yeah, good.
It's still not very good, but that is kind of like why I started, you know, seeing like the meditation coach and like learning a lot about like I was kind of at a point in my life where I was just like, I just felt like kind of just like at the end of my rope. And I just was just like, I'm going to reach in all directions to figure out like what this is that I'm feeling, or like how I can fix this. and I got so much back that I was like, there is like a whole nother level to like existing that I was previously completely ignorant to.
Yeah.
Like it kind of like when I talk to people like yourself or different, either counselors or meditation people or people that are into meditation and like have like a background in kind of like Hinduism or different things like that. You're taking in all this information that you're like, wow, that like previously like 2016 self-development, I would have been like, that is witchcraft.
Yeah.
That is not for me. That person is nuts.
Right.
And like now that I've kind of like learned and like improved my life with like the binaural beats, with, doing different things, and like I have a long way to still go, but like I've seen a little bit of progress that I'm now very open to. Like, what's a perfect example? The crystals. Like people that are into crystals. I'm just like, I used to look at crystal folk and be like, what are you smoking? Your crystal energy, like you bring this one with you when you're stressed because and I'm like, now I'm kind of looking at it in a different way, that like I'm still, the crystal thing is kind of, it's interesting because now that I'm understanding like the science or different theories behind that, it's like the minerals and the vibration of those products, you can kind of like theoretically absorb that energy, and then that affects you. And it was just kind of like weird to open up to that stuff. So now I feel like I'm very open to all of these things.
Yay.
So when, we were introduced to you, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Because like I'm gonna be able to ask somebody a whole bunch of just questions, or like what your thoughts and opinions are.
Yeah.
There's me being masculine again, dude. Just can't stop.
Can't stop. And here I'm like, no, be masculine, because that's why I'm here.
Can't stop, won't stop. So it was just kind of like, it feels like I'm kind of on like this weird journey now. Because like
without having to take mushrooms.
Yeah, without having to take mushrooms.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because
I
think mushrooms, ayahuasca, we've been trying to we have someone that's a shaman that we're like one person away from, but we're trying to link up with him, but he doesn't have a cell phone anymore.
Of course.
And he only comes to the States like for like holidays or different things to see his family, because he's now married to like an Amazonian lady. So we just like all that kind of stuff, like I'm just like, the shaman ayahuasca thing is very scary to me, but it's also like what I've already learned and experienced in just like this weird journey. It's just kind of like, that sounds so powerful. But like from now, what I've studied about ayahuasca and like the shaman thing, like you have to get a real shaman. They have to be like in tune with the jungle. You have to do like this certain type of diet leading up to it, because like, I don't know if I ever told you this, like if you say you eat pig or cow meat before you go on an ayahuasca, they don't call it a trip, it's a journey, or they use different things for it. You can actually experience the soul of that creature from the drug that you take.
Yeah, you have to detox.
So you have to like detox. And I'm like, we're going to get back to this. We're going to come back. We're going to circle back around to this ayahuasca. So I was just really excited to have you on, because I'm like, like, I mean, if you came on and you were like, pulled a wand out, like started like reciting Harry Potter things, I'd be disappointed. But so far, not a disappointment.
Well, you haven't seen what's in my bag yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Shit. You did move it like away from you. You're like, are you sitting here?
I didn't know.
Don't touch my crystals.
I didn't know if it was going to be a party of 3. I just have Benadryl. That's all. You can look.
Do you think she knows about those cards you were saying?
Oh, do you know about what is it? Cardstrology?
You said something like card astrology or something.
Can you Google it so I'm not
I
butchering
know
it?
tarot cards.
Yeah, so I recently heard about this thing called, I think it's called cardstrology.
Cardstrology.
Or card.
Is it using tarot and astrology together?
Well, it's like using an actual deck of cards to, like, it might be the same as tarot cards, but like the deck of cards, the guy I found, his Instagram account is Renaissance Man, like 8,000 or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, you're an excellent speller, Gilmore.
Thanks.
There it
Yeah,
is,
I
the
would've
first one.
botched that.
So go to like maybe click on his website.
Castrology. That's what it says.
Castrology.
So it uses so there's the deck of cards.
Oh,
and
yeah, I know this.
Yeah, so like every card has a numeric value, and if you add them all up, it equals 365. There's 52 cards in a deck, which is the number of weeks in a year. Everyone has like a birth card, and then like they have like 1, 2, or 3 cards for different things, and like it basically like they can use the cards to kind of like help you make decisions. And I was looking into the history of this, and it's like a forgotten art form or forgotten medium, or I don't know what you
modality
that like has been suppressed over the years because it's like so legit.
It's ancient.
And ancient that like multiple different like kings or different groups of people have like tried to suppress it, so that because like the thought process is like if we have a bunch of individual people running around that like are well grounded in different things, like we don't have workers anymore. Like it's different conspiracy things that kind of have a lot of validity to them when you get into like the actual, when you start digging into the information, you're like, whoa. Like,
yeah, it's super valid.
Yeah.
I used to work at a place where a woman would do this, and people said it was like scary right on. I never got a reading from her, but they were like, it's a card deck. Like, how can she do this? But
yeah, I heard about it from a podcast, and then I dug into it, and then I noticed some people that I'm friends with that are like very successful people were friends with this guy on social media. So I messaged them, a couple of them, because like these aren't guys that like they're in like crazy wealthy or have had like great success in different levels, and they're not people like, I was just kind of like, all right, let me hear what they have to say. And they said like they got readings from this guy in particular, and they were like, they said it was extremely helpful but unnerving how accurate he was, and he knew nothing about them.
Yeah.
And but they all said very positive things that it helped them like through different variety of challenges, like whether it was business or life or different things they weren't aware of that was coming, that ultimately did come, that they were like prepared for, and like different things like that. It was kind of weird.
I want to get a reading.
Yeah. You go to his Instagram account, the guy, you can set up a reading with him.
Yeah, I just did my birthday thing on here, and it's, I mean,
look at that.
It's it just says a lot about.
All right, so your birthday card's the 3 of Hearts.
Yeah.
The 3 of Hearts here. What's the 3 of Hearts is the first card in the mundane spread of cards, and represents the departure of a man and a woman from the Garden of Eden in search for who and what they love. They can often become confused and dissatisfied. Dude, you are completely confused. I'm just kidding.
But I'm not. None of this like is.
It's very general.
Yeah, what was a little more accurate was maybe like the yearly card is like, it means the desire for money or the birth of a new way of earning money, which is kind of like accurate. And then this one, strong desire for knowledge, some kind of, or new birth of an idea or plan, way of communicating with the world around you. And then the daily card signifies that a money partnership of some kind will be playing a role in your life. This could be a standard business partnership or something out of the ordinary, but it will certainly have something related to money as the end result. So
dude, I just told you I'd invest in your clothing company.
Yeah. So that's like a little...
that literally happened 15 minutes ago. That's weird.
It's like, I don't know, it's a little accurate. Sometimes I feel like it's coincidence because my girlfriend loves doing tarot readings. She has a ton of tarot cards.
That's fun.
So sometimes we like, before, at the end of the night or the beginning of the day, she would sometimes do a reading like past, present, future, or something like that. And some of it is pretty general, but I guess if you can, use that as something helpful, you can kind of some way go in tune with it, and it can help you, go in a direction where you didn't think you could go, or it could help you lead you to a path that would be better for you. It's like sometimes very general, but some of it might be helpful. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Or
Well, I was very open. I want to get into tarot card things because I've never learned anything about that, I guess, or not a lot. But the reason I got hooked into this whole idea was I was like, well, the stars are really old. They used to like sail the earth using stars. Like they used to do incredible things with like astrology and different stuff that we've all like kind of given up because we have Google now and GPS. So it was just kind of like I'm into like ancient aliens. I've read tons of stuff about like the Anunnaki, the pyramids. Like the pyramids are actually older than the Egyptians. So it's like, well, they were there before the Egyptians. So the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, which is just like you go down these rabbit holes. And that's like what I used to do in the morning sometimes.
We can go there.
And you would just kind of like, you'd be like, all right, there's more to all of this. And whether or not like that information's being hidden from us from like a Illuminati or we just forgot it because, if you stop riding a bike, like maybe you forget different stuff like that. But with the tarot cards, like how does that, is there a finite number of tarot cards or they're like, is it the same as like a deck of cards? Like how does that?
Wait, you want me to skip over aliens to talk about cards?
Well, we can talk about aliens. That's fine.
Let's
you had
talk
an
about
encounter?
aliens.
Like, have you seen aliens?
No, I love aliens. Well, the tarot cards. So I don't use tarot cards.
Okay.
I mean, I do a little bit here and there, but I don't. I'm not like a professional tarot card reader.
I always looked at tarot cards kind of like the original Magic the Gathering.
They are pretty cool. Some of the artwork is sick.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, dude, I wish I could get someone to read me some tarot cards and get one of these tattooed on me.
So my grandmom, she was a professional tarot card reader, and she bought me my first deck. And we would like sit there when I was 19 and like go over it. She would make me look at the card and write down what I felt, and then we would talk about it before like researching what the card was about. So she made me go within first. And so that's how I started to learn them, but I don't. I do so much better without tools.
Okay.
So
you pick up on people's like energy, like kind of like there's no like sometimes psychics you think of like people and like it's a negative connotation because people think it's a scam. But like you're obviously like using people's like energy or different like things that you can pick up on to like help people through what they're going through.
Yeah, so I do something called an energetic upgrade. And what that is I look at someone's energy where it is now, and I ask for my higher self, my client's higher self, their spirit team, and loved ones on the other side to please come forth. So it's my whole team and my client's whole team. And they come together, and I meditate on my client before I see them. And I ask for action steps that can propel them forward onto their highest path to come forward and be shown, messages of love, and evidence that they're not alone. And then I go into a meditative state, and I see, hear, and feel things, and I write it all down. And then when we come together, I always tell my client to come with at least 5 questions that they have to ask. And a lot of times, I mean, I will say, is there any burning question you want to start off with? But a lot of times they'll just say, I want to know what you got. And so I'll sit there and I'll go into the book of everything that I got in my meditations. But as I'm doing that, the information's like also coming to me at real time. So it'll be a mesh of that. And most likely it crosses off all of their questions that they wanted to ask me. And then for the medium part, because the psychic part is I read what's in your energy now and your past and your future. For the medium part, that's talking to loved ones on the other side. So if you have a loved one on the other side, I work a little bit differently. Sometimes, their spirit walks forward without me calling them in. But sometimes I'll have to call them in. And then I watch them walk towards me, and then they stand here, and I have a conversation with my client, me, and their loved one on the other side.
And so, is that scary ever?
No.
Why is that not scary for you?
It would have been scary years ago to me. because I didn't understand it.
So is this like a skill, or like, is this something you can learn, or is this something that you're born with?
So both.
Okay.
Absolutely both. I believe that we're all born with this ability. And I think that we have something called a pineal gland in our mind. And as we age, it calcifies. And it calcifies for numerous amounts of reasons. And so if you're aware of that and you have the intention and the want to work on your intuition and talk to people on the other side.
What's the gland called? Sorry.
The pineal gland.
Pineal.
Some people say pineal. I say pineal. If you have the want and the intention and you work on it, everyone will be able to do it. So I offer courses to teach people how to be psychics and mediums. I've never had someone like graduate from there and not be able to tap into energy or feel a loved one on the other side.
I feel like you'd be excellent at this.
Me?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. You're just a good listener.
Are you falling asleep on me?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, me?
Yeah.
No, I just think that Gilmar's like,
Yeah, I think so.
do I look like I'm falling asleep?
No.
I feel like my masculine energy is radiating.
I'm like so interested. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
No, knew it.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I love hearing about this. I always found it very fascinating that someone could, reach that sort of level of consciousness and go beyond what other people could normally go with. Like you seeing someone's loved one and being.
It feels like a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it's insane.
It can get heavy at times. Like I'll say something and someone will like take it and run with it, like hard. Instead of naturally letting it unfold. I used to do that. Like if I were to go to psychic and they would tell me like in my young 20s, they were like, you're going to write a book. So I like squeezed a book out of me rather than like letting it naturally when I feel it bubbling up, when I feel I need to write a book, But it is a lot of responsibility because you're holding someone's, man or woman, everyone's emotions are extremely delicate. And when I'm doing my work, when I'm tapping into your energy and your soul and your loved ones on the other side, that's super vulnerable. It can be scary. It can be exhilarating. It could be so many things, but I feel it all. Like not only do I feel myself, but I feel my client throughout the whole thing. And so, and then I have to release myself of their energy. And if I don't do a great job with that, I take on that client's feelings, like physical body symptoms. I take on their thoughts. I take on their characteristics, and it's not fun. So there's so many like different pieces of responsibility that you have to like watch out for. I don't know, but I will never read someone without their permission because I'm not a peeping Tom. So
Interesting.
So it sounded like you had to prepare a lot for a client. Like say if someone came up to you and was like, read me right now, would you be able to do an accurate of a job as if you had to prepare for it? Or
that's a great question.
I mean, I don't think I'm as good just like on the fly as if I have my ritual, which is I have to get myself centered, then I have to call in my whole team, and then I do my ritual on the client. Yes, I've absolutely sat down and just, if the client wanted to, I've been able to, like if you were to sit here and say like, yeah, I want to be read. And I would say, okay, ask me a question. And then that would open up the portal. And then I'd be able to,
I'm really tempted.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do that on camera.
On camera. Andrew's just crying.
Yeah. I mean, I'll cry on camera.
Yeah, I'll cry on camera. I'll go fuck.
You're not that stuck in your masculine.
No. I've cried up. I've cried some crazy shit.
It's just like breathing in your tears, like.
I know. Yeah, I have a very emotional family, so every weekend we're crying.
Aww,
Yeah, no, my dad's a very emotional person. Like he just like when I say bye to him, he like sometimes cries, and I'm like, bro, like stop. It's gonna make me cry right now. But it's like, bro, chill out. I'll see you next week. Yeah, I don't know.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I filed to get adopted by his family, but I haven't heard back yet.
I wouldn't adopt you. I'm kidding. I mean, you would build stuff for me, right? You and my husband could partner up and build some stuff.
I'm unadoptable.
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Yeah, you run the household by the
Well,
end
you're
of
a
the week.
hoodlum, right? You're a pirate.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, run free.
That's interesting.
Wait, while there's dead air, I have to pee again.
Yeah, let's take a break
Okay.
and
Can we
pee
do
because
that?
I got to pee too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about like your team and their team and, you know, being like you have to be asked a question and different things like that. And then Gilmar put you on the spot with like, are you as good, you know, like an impromptu session versus like a scheduled one where you can do your whole routine? The question I have is like, and this, you might say this is too personal, but like, what does your team consist of? Like, what is that? Like, what is like your team? Because I'm assuming like their team is like, for me, I don't know who would be on my team, but like maybe I have a dead grandmother or somebody else that I was close to that died or like different things like that. Like, is your team people that have passed that you're connected with, or have you just been out in the meditation land and like met people like spirits that like are on your team? Like, how's that work?
So I call forth my higher self.
Mm.
I also call forth my loved ones on the other side that help me with this work.
Mm.
So that's the loved ones that are in my family lineage that are on the other side.
Are these people that you knew before they passed, or are these people that like you might not have known?
They can be both.
Okay.
And then my spirit team consists of spirit guides, which like so many different realms hold your spirit guides depending on how many you have. So I believe that we are born with 1 to 2 spirit guides that are with you from birth until death. Then we also have transitional guides. So our transitional guides are here with us when we're going through health issues. And sometimes it doesn't have to be issues, but usually it is. Health issues, love issues, career, finances. A certain guide will step forward and help you with that. And these guides you may have had past lives with before, or you don't, they're assigned to you for one reason or another. But
do these guides, do they take, you know, human form, or is it like an energy?
there's
like,
everything. So
okay.
the way that I describe it is if you think of the ocean and you think of all the different sea creatures and animals, right? Think about even the ones that we aren't even aware of, and how many different creatures, like what they look like. So spirit guides can be light beings. They can be angels. They can be aliens. They can be from all different dimensions. So when I call forth my spirit guides, I kind of feel like Snow White in a way, because some of them are animals. Some of them are, you know, is Snow White of the universe, you know, because there's other beings. There's some funky looking stuff, but they're there to help. And so mostly my guides come to me looking in the form of orbs and light beings.
Okay. And do they speak like English to you? Like you can you have a conversation with them, or is it just kind of like you're just like speaking on a different, I guess like my vocabulary is short here, on like a different wavelength
level.
Like, is it like more of sounds? Is it just kind of like transmission?
So I use all of my clairs, which I call intuitive traveling. So basically, you have clear seeing, clear hearing. There's like technical words. I will use them if you want me to, but there's clear seeing, clear hearing, clear knowing, clear feeling. There's clear tasting and clear smelling. And I use all of them. So I'm able to sit in a reading with someone, and the way that my guides work with me is they travel and use all of my senses, just like how we're sitting here. but it's like I'm sitting with them, and it's like a conversation that I have with you guys. But it's just on a very subtle level, so I have to really tap in. Loved ones on the other side, it's the same way, but it's very quick. It's very, very quick flashes, so you have to get used to, like, it's almost like, oh, wait, and catch it and, like, hold on to it, because it's going to be gone in a split second. So your guides, they can hold the information there longer. They're working within your energy, and then loved ones on the other side, they're separated. But, like, the visions that they show you are super quick, like, boom, flash, and it's gone. So you have to hold on to that. But
I pictured something like, and that's why I asked, like, I pictured kind of like something in Star Wars where you see, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda's, like, ghost. Kind of like.
I don't know Star Wars at all.
Fine.
Sorry.
Fuck me.
That's one unalignment thing.
We got to schedule a Star Wars episode then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like at a certain point, there's like the younger Jedi Knight is like, looking for help, and like these basically like ghosts of the past like provide, but it's not like they're not ghosts. They've just moved, like because of their powers, they've just moved on to like the next level, which makes them like these translucent, smoke like beings that come and like speak to you and then they're gone. So that's kind of that's like why I asked, like, what's the
that's kind of like what you would like someone on the other side looks like. They're kind of see-through.
Whoa.
I
mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But sometimes they don't show me themselves. Sometimes I just feel their feelings, and the feelings become language out of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you would have to be very like in touch with feelings in general.
Yes.
To interpret all of that.
Yeah, I'm very, very, all my life have been super sensitive and in touch with emotions and that sort of thing. One good analogy is, it's funny, my sister's dating this guy, Kyle, and he grew up with a bunch of brothers and sisters, and so they always play games, like, back in the day. He's in his 40s, so like back in the day, you just, no phones, no TV, you just play games. They would play charades a lot, and so since he's kind of came into our family, we've been playing a lot of charades, and I'm pretty damn good at it, and I realize it's because I literally play charades for my career. I literally have to pull in all of the different things that I'm getting and feeling. And
the mic keeps attacking you. I'm sorry.
I keep doing it to that. I'm just not used to it. I'm a hand talker. So yeah, it's like charades. It's pretty wild. It's really cool. Yeah. The biggest thing that I get is feeling. So I feel a lot when I'm sitting with someone, and especially like if I'm getting ready to sit down with a client and they have bad acid reflux that they suffer from, like all day I'll start to have acid reflux, and I don't have that. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm getting mad, and I'm like, what did I eat? What am I doing? And then finally I always remember, like, oh, it's probably my client. So then I always say, like, this energy is not mine to keep. And I release it, and it goes away. And then when I sit down with the client, I'm like, all right, you're eating too much, like, sweeteners, like artificial sweeteners. You have acid reflux. And they're like, yes, I'm diabetic, so I eat artificial sweeteners. And I always have acid reflux, but I never, like, was able to pin them together. I'm like, stop eating that.
That makes that actually kind of, like, connected a whole bunch of dots for me, because I read a book fairly recently that was kind of about like the mind-body relationship.
Yeah.
And I got through some of the books like where I'm just kind of like, this woman, I didn't understand what she was saying, because she would explain certain with the chakras, like your 13 chakras, right? Or something like that, like the 13.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you're talking about. So we have 7 main ones in our body. The top one is a little bit above our head.
Okay, so maybe 13 was wrong. Maybe we'll say 7. And it was like in the beginning of the book, she was like connecting like your symptoms at different, chakras.
Mm-hmm.
and then like what that is related to
in the body.
Yeah, so like if you have stomach problems or like IBS or different things, like this is being triggered because of X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you got like further into the book, she would actually like, started with like anxiety, depression. I read the whole thing because I was like, I'm just going to read alcoholism, all of these different things and kind of just like learn it all. And she would kind of like explain the situation, like what you're feeling, what is contributing to it. And then it would be like she would use, an example of a client she had, obviously changing the name, but she would say like the intuitive reading, and she would explain like what her intuitive reading of this person was.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like witchcraft because she'd be like, oh, I sensed like this energy at this thing, or she had like, red energy around like her, this, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, maybe she is suffering from cancer or different things. And like, she would explain like when she actually sat down with the client and like talked it through and asked them, like, be like, oh, like what's going on here? Like she would connect all the dots together.
Mm-hmm.
And I read through all those sections just kind of being like, what? Like I thought this was going to be like a psychology book, and I got like a lot more. But like the way you're talking, I think now that's kind of like what she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't do a good job like introducing those concepts to like when I thought intuitive reading, I thought she was just using like, I'm sitting with you, I can see you're visibly stressed or like, different things like that. But she was like, it was more energy based. But that brings a little bit more clarity. I'm going to have to probably go back to that and just reread some of that stuff.
It's fascinating. And your chakras, I do something else called chakra healings. So like I dip into every one of your chakras and they'll talk to me. Like that sounds silly, but so if I were to have a picture of you, I would look into your eyes because they're the seat of the soul. And I would have your picture up, and then I'd have my laptop, and I would just write root chakra. And then I literally would get inundated with information, so I just type it out for every one of your chakras. And usually it's like that big of a paragraph of what's going on written on a computer. And then I go and I take that information and I put a crystal grid. So every crystal is one of your chakras. And then I'll, put my hand over it and I'll feel it. If it's hot, if it's cold, if it's moving, if it's stale, if it's a swamp, if things need to be pulled out of it. And typically in each one of your chakras, you have like mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual information in there. So, a lot of times it would be like, you have IBS in your sacral chakra. Or you are diabetic, and that means that you're trying to chase sweetness in life. And you know what I mean? Like, so you're suffering from that and you really need that. So you need to be like kinder to yourself. You need to do more things that you love. You need to, do personal development, that sort of thing, if you're not born with it, So it's really fascinating. I'm obsessed with it. I really, really love it. The chakra healings take so much out of me, though.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
You're like a satellite, or like kind of like a satellite dish, like bringing the signals in.
Yeah,
and then after a while, your battery's just drained.
Yes. Yeah. And so I love my bed. My husband calls it my charging station. Yeah.
Now, so like you've been doing this professionally for 10 years, you said?
So I owned a gym beforehand.
Okay.
And so I closed the gym to do this.
What kind of gym did you own?
Functional movement.
Okay.
So I would do many different things. So I'm certified in Pilates, CrossFit, and kettlebells. So I did a lot of that there. And so I opened that up when I guess I've been in business longer than that. So I'm 38, and when I was 26, I opened up my gym.
Okay.
So, and then I did that for almost 6 years, and then I started to do intuitive life coaching, which just kind of naturally came into this. Because when people came to me for life coaching, I realized like, oh crap, I'm actually reading them.
Yeah.
So
Oops.
I had to figure that out.
Yeah, kind of like, is it hard for you to kind of like put that filter on Like when you say you're not reading me, are you just like reading me and just keeping it to yourself? That'd be me. I'd be like lasering everybody down.
You know what? No, I'm truly not. I mean,
if you are, I don't care.
I get vibes from people, and I can't deny that. You know, like
Okay.
I can't deny vibes. Like if I walked into a room, I'm gonna immediately like you or not like you or neutral or be like, wow, that person's really interesting. I really want to talk to that person.
Okay, so without hurting any of our feelings, what was the vibe when you came into our office studio thing?
More in your masculine and more in your feminine.
Dude, we're
And
like the
so-
double dragons.
So you guys are really good together.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, look at that.
Dude, let's get married.
Yeah, let's do it.
Aw.
Friendship marriage.
Friendship marriage.
Aw.
I was just going to get super masculine on you, but I was afraid I was going to say something wild.
Wait, do it. I want to go there. Let's do it. Oh, to him or to me?
Everybody's getting
Everybody's
masculine.
Let's go.
That's funny. So, like, did you feel safe? Is this what kind of vibes, or were you just like, these creeps?
No, I felt safe. It was so funny. My husband never says this, but he's like, did you write the address down? And I was like, why? Are you picking up on something that I'm not? And we just laughed. He's like, I mean, are a bunch of dudes going to, like, kidnap you? Kidding. He was kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
maybe.
And I was like, so here's the address. He's never asked me for that before. And we were kidding, but
He'd
so
probably be circling the parking lot forever trying to find the building like everyone else. Be like, 4936, I knew it. It's somewhere around here.
you know what? I really appreciated the picture that you had in your email of like, this is what the building looks like. was
Yeah,
like,
I made that page
I'm
just because like
smart.
it was just such a struggle explaining to everybody where our office is because it's easy to find, but it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes people find it no problem. It's like 50-50 hit or miss.
Well,
So-
the picture helped me, so thanks.
So I was like, do the Google Maps with a dot, and then we'll do the picture of the front of the building because it's like, it's hard to explain if you've never been to this area.
Yeah.
But
I love this area.
yeah,
Love it. But no, he really didn't mean that. He was just, he's a very, very sarcastic person.
if he's not safe,
And
I'll
I
kidnap
love
him.
it.
Just saying.
I'm like, ha ha ha.
He's probably like 6'4",
Yeah.
like
Huge dude.
Ben's metal.
You know what I say about him is that he has very large, like, features about him. But
Okay.
when you put them together, he's not a large guy, and it makes no sense to me. I don't understand it.
Okay, so like
Very
he's
odd.
how tall is he?
Almost 6 foot.
Okay, so he's a big guy. I'm only 5'9".
Mm.
He's-
I'm like 5'8" 3/4. I'm like
Mhm.
lying about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 foot's pretty big. Does he have like large hands?
I mean, his arms are like gorilla long, very large everything, truly. But then when you put it,
Flexing on
well,
that. Okay,
oh,
okay.
flexing on that. But when you put them together, it's not like a potato man. You know those toys. Like it, he looks very proportionate, but I don't. And he doesn't look like a big guy. But
I'm just like
weird.
picturing this dude with like Popeye arms, like just Diesel's. Like,
he's not Diesel, but he's in shape. You know, but yeah, I don't know. He looks like a. So do you know Colin from Koru?
Yeah.
we don't know
We don't
him
know him,
yet.
yeah.
I think my wife's meeting him next week because like she's starting a fitness business
Oh,
and just like talking to him. But so she beat us to the punch. We've been meaning to get over there and just like train to just check it out. But I think he's coming on the podcast in a couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
he is.
well, the
we're
reason
we're really excited to meet him.
that's cool. He's a good guy. The reason why I brought him up is because he said that Mike looked like a UFC fighter, and
So hard to kidnap.
and someone else thought we were in another state, and they're like, "Are you this professional football player?" I don't know the name of. I don't get into sports much, but so
EA Sports.
do you like sports?
I'm
You do.
I'm into UFC and that's about it.
Oh,
like I'm into
okay.
like boxing, jiu-jitsu, UFC,
Yeah, like the cool stuff.
and Formula One.
I'll watch any sport that's on, to be honest.
He loves sports.
Yeah,
this
I
is
love
our
sports.
sports guy
Do you
here.
love
Yeah, I grew
sports?
up watching sports and playing, so
Oh,
I'll just watch anything that comes on. Even if it's bowling, I'll fucking watch it. Like,
wow.
yeah, I just like the high stakes and the intensity.
Okay.
He has what the kids call a problem. He's like yelling at the bowlers.
But it's not like I would
Don't turn on curling around Gilmar, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this
Oh,
Russian.
wait, do you like that? I don't
What?
understand it.
Curling?
Curling.
Like, I'm like, what is this?
I don't think I understand
It's
it fully.
It's shuffleboard for bored people.
There you go.
That's
It's just not enough to slide it across that thing. You got to come over and scrape the ice to slow it down
to
too.
sweep it.
Oh, they work, man. They got insane triceps.
What if she was like, yeah, my husband has the forearm. But what if we just like erase this whole conversation? And she's like, well, he'd be hard to kidnap because he has the forearms of a curler, like a broom sweeper. Be
Yeah.
like, what?
And they probably do.
I
have
wouldn't
huge
marry him.
No.
No. I mean, if he looked like a curler, I'd be like, what? Get out of here.
Will you marry me? No, you look like a curler.
You curler.
I mean, like, we like to go in the woods,
Ooh.
hike.
That's
like, we
nice.
like, the back doors type stuff.
That's one thing as I like learned more about myself. I lived in the city for a long time and would go out and do all these things. And like, now looking back on that, I'm like, I don't know how what energy I pulled from to like go out and do that stuff, because I am not a happy person when I'm in like a large group of people. I've learned to like start listening to kind of like myself and being like, you go into the woods and find mountain. You do not go to Bach bar roof deck.
I feel like the more that I talk to you, you're a highly sensitive person.
Oh, I'm extremely sensitive, and I did not know that until like.
It's actually a beautiful thing.
I'm like learning how to like, because I just felt such a need to kind of just like either like different phases of my life, like when you're in high school or junior high and different things, like you want to be liked, and then you go to college and like you want to get a good job, and like you do different things to like try and please other people because you think that's what's going to get you ahead. And then you just get down this road where like you're just like, how the fuck did I get here? So I'm working back down that road now.
Yeah. Well, that's a highly sensitive person.
Yeah.
They people please. Because you also feel the other person's emotions. If like you were to say no to that person and they want you to say yes, you kind of feel them too, and then you feel guilty. And so then a lot of times you just say yes so that they'll like you and to get ahead and all that kind of stuff. But then you're not using your voice and you're not standing in your authenticity. So then you screw yourself over and you're like way off track.
Yeah, I would find like I used to get in a lot of fights, and that would be like I just enjoyed fighting. But then as I got older, like you can't like communicate with your fists anymore. And like, for instance, like on different projects, like the other day we were on a project and I was just like in a rush of different things, getting a house ready and then managing all the other stuff we had. And I showed up to a project and I was already just getting slammed. And I showed up and the plumber got out of his truck and was just like, why'd you leave me this note? And we use like a pretty intricate like management software to like keep track of it all. And I don't even remember if it was me, but something was wrong with how something was done underneath the sink. And the note on like the to-do assigned to that plumber that like he got his sheet. When they show up, nobody manages themselves. So like we'll give them these like, this is what all the things you have to do in this house right now. Do not forget one of them because you'll have to come back and then we'll be delayed here. So he had gotten his sheet and somebody had, I had all the sheets taped up inside the house. He showed up and there was like a note written on like the one thing that was like, I don't know what he was thinking, blah, blah. I don't think I actually wrote it because like I don't remember actually what it said. And it was something about like how he had installed something wrong. And he was like all personal about it. And this is like an older dude who's just not thorough the way I would like him to be. And he was getting all personal. I'm like, well, is it not fucked up? And I looked at him and he's just like, well, like, and he had already started, like, I have a guy that works with us that looks a lot like me. And they all started laughing because me and him were going at it. And he had already attacked the other guy thinking it was me and then realized it wasn't. So here's like the second round of him being like, why did you write this mean note? And it wasn't mean. It was just factual. And I was like, dude, it's just words on paper. I was like, what's the problem? And he was just like, oh, well, you don't need to talk like that, blah, blah. I'm like, there's nothing on this fucking piece of paper that is out of line or anything. It's factual. You did it wrong. Did you fix it? because like I see you're leaving, and if you didn't fix it, I'm gonna freak out right now. And he's like, well, I break my back for you guys. And he like works for the guy we hire. And I'm like, break your back? And I'm like, are you? And I just lost it on him. I was like, break your back. I was like, you show up, you are assigned to do the plumbing, you do the plumbing, and then you leave. Like, there's no back breaking here. Like, nobody is holding a gun to your head. Nobody is like asking you to like exert yourself. Like, you're putting faucets in. If like this is back breaking work to you, get a new profession. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, you're wasting my time. And then like I had to like get back into my truck, and like was going to call someone. I just like take a minute because I was so fucking angry.
Yeah.
And just like then I just like was just exhausted by it, and I didn't feel bad for freaking out on him, but I kind of felt like, why do I have to do that? It's like, why does it get to a point that like I have to just like blow up on people to get stuff done? And then I'm like, oh, it's because you're sensitive. So it's just like some people just like, I'm good at that, but it's like I don't understand people that like enjoy just yelling and just freaking out all the time. Like, it just is very confusing to me. It's like, you should be like, when I see someone flipping out or like yelling or raising their voice, and this is probably like, my dad was a yeller. My dad would just fucking yell. So like when I see people yelling, and I think Jocko Willink, who's like a ex-Navy SEAL and like a leadership coach and jiu-jitsu guy, he like had a YouTube video a while ago that I sent to like everyone. Like I sent it to people in our company, and it was like, oh, Jocko's my guy. And it was all about like how you, when you yell or lose your cool, you actually do the opposite of what you think you're doing. Like, everybody just looks at you like a weak bitch. So I'm like, I know that. So like when I lose my cool, I'm just like, damn it. Like, that person got to me and like made me get there. But it's weird to me that people respond to that. So I'm like, you just positively reinforced my bad behavior that I don't want to do.
Right.
So it's like, you shouldn't like, but when people yell at me, I'm just sitting there, and I'll just sit there in silence and just be like, I'm going to crush you. It's just like, you are not yelling at me right now. And that just goes to like me being like just my childhood and just being like, we'll even this table one of these days. But that's like, I would 2 years ago, I would have been like, I'm not sensitive. But like, having gone through all of this, I'm like, wow, you know, maybe I am.
Yeah. You know, something that I noticed in when you work for yourself, you have people that work with you, under you, however you want to say it. I always like to say alongside of me.
I always like to say with, because it's like, it's the same thing as like naming a company after yourself.
Right.
I've said this a million times, but it's like when you say like, if this was Andrew Mann Construction, but I have a team of people that make all of this happen, that's a slap in the face.
Yeah, I agree.
I would never name a business after myself, because it's like, it takes everyone plays their part. That's why I don't say Gilmar works for me. That makes me uncomfortable to say that.
Right.
It's like, no, Gilmar's like works with us. Like, this is a team effort.
So that's like where I'm kind of getting at is, especially, so I'm going to be talking about that business, but also like in relationships, right? Like you and your wife and him and his girlfriend, me and Mike. It sounds corny, but it comes down to everyone's love languages. So if you are a business owner and you have people that work alongside of you, you really need to spend time to understand how people like to be talked to and communicated with. And so it's kind of like, you know, in life coaching, because I also do life coaching, a lot of people come to me about their marriages, you know, and it's like, well, so for instance, let's just say we're together, all right? If I wasn't aware of your needs, I know how I like to be loved. I would love you the way that I like to be loved. But that is not fulfilling to you, right? So I have to be aware enough to say, like, here, this is how I like to be loved, and you have to show up for me that way, and I have to know how you like to be loved, and I have to show up to you in that way.
I'll be completely honest, I'm terrible at that.
Well, so that's something that you should work on. I don't want to say like you should, but this is something that you could work on for the people that you work with, how they like to be communicated with, and same with your partner for life, your wife. And I feel like there should be the love languages of business. That should be a book if it isn't. But because it lets your workers know, like, hey, I care about you. I hear you. I know how you like to be talked to, and I want to get to you on that level so that we don't have any blow-ups, so that we can prevent things. And same with, like, you know, you and your wife. I have no idea how you guys are, but, like, that's the best thing to do is, like, you each read that book and say, like, all right, I love quality time and physical touch. And she might be like, all right, well, I like acts of service and words of affirmation. So she may not want to have sex one night because you didn't help her out with the dishes and you haven't told her that, like, oh, you look good in like 2 months. So she doesn't feel loved by you. Or
What book is this?
It's called The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm aware of that. And it started with, I'm going to give Jocko credit because I think it was him. But it was, somebody said, like, you have to be the leader your people need you to be, not the leader you want to be.
Yes.
A long time ago. So, like, ever since I heard that, I've just been like, huh. So probably for like 4 years, I've just been working very hard at learning how to identify how people need to be, you know, spoken to or led. And I do work at it, but it is not something that, like, I would say I've been working at it for 4 years. And, like, I'm 34. So I've been working at it since I was 30. In the grand scheme of things, like, for 30 years, I was completely like, this is my way. I think it's the best way for this situation. Like, I was completely unaware of, like, that idea. But when I heard it, I was like, that's a harsh reality.
Cool is that, though, that, like, you heard it and it slapped you in the face and, like, or however it hit you.
Oh, it always slaps me.
You know? And
I'm
then
getting
you're
slapped.
like, but you're open-minded enough to, like, make the change.
Yeah.
And self-aware to look within you. Like, so many people wouldn't. So that's rad.
Yeah, I get credit for making those changes in my life from different people, and they, like, say, like, oh, you made the choice to make that. But it oftentimes feels like not a choice. Like, it kind of felt like when I started making, like, in 2016 when I started that stuff, I found something and I was like, this is the way I have to go. Like, there is no choice here. Like, I'm either where I'm at, which is miserable, or I go to that, which is better. Yeah. So it's like, it's very hard. Like, I understand when people say that, like, oh, you made the choice. That's, like, really good. But it's like, it doesn't ever feel like a choice. I guess, like, in reflecting on it, like, I guess I take for granted that I choose to, like, move to greener pastures all the time because, like, I don't want to be miserable. So it's like, it's weird to me that people would, like, not see that opportunity to change or, like, take on something new like that for their betterment. So, like, I'm very naive or, like, don't understand that. So, like, I get when people say that. Like, does that make sense? Where it's just like, you're not going to stay where you are.
Yeah, but you're wired differently. I feel like most people are complacent where they are and they don't have the, I guess, awareness to see that there's a better way. But with you see a better way and you're like, I'm doing that. This is not even an option. Other people would be like, I mean, I could do that. It could be this, but I could be this. And, you know, like, I'm kind of comfortable here. But I feel like you are capable of seeing past that.
It feels like if like somebody held my feet over fire, like, I'm not staying there. Yeah. Like, if I can get away from that fire, like, and that's how it feels with, like, a lot of things. So it's like, I get credit for, like, making the forward advancement, but to me, it's like, I am miserable here. I have to seek out to see if something's better. So I get it, I guess.
But so for me, what that says is that you're not afraid of change because you seek out a different perspective. Then you feel like you feel that, like, in your energy, and it's like buzzing. And you're like, I have to do that. So then you make the changes to do it. So many people will be like, okay, I'm going to do that. But if you change one thing, decide to change one thing in your life, so many other factors and layers have to change as well. And that becomes overwhelming to people. So if I were to sit here...
Okay, that makes more sense.
If I were to sit here and say, I want to lose... I don't, but let's just say someone says, I want to lose 25 pounds. And in your mind, you're like, there's no other choice. I'm going to lose 25 pounds. But for someone else, that means that their schedule has to change because they have to now put in exercise time. They need to say no to chocolate and yes to a smoothie, and that's hard. Every little thing is change, and to that, it's overwhelming for people, and they'll stop. So for you, I say you're just not afraid of change, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes...
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but she said it way better than
that was for free.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have just paid you guys.
Yay, we're figuring you out.
Yeah, good luck. I think like one of the things that I heard a long time ago, that it was like somebody said like going to the gym is difficult because you don't you have to build up that momentum to go every day. Mm-hmm. And then I heard something, I think it was what was that, Eric? Was it Eric Church? Or what was that guy that we listened to, that mindset coach that we got all fired up on the podcast that one time? It was talking about walking into the water. Yeah. Water goes waist deep. Yeah. And it was like something about this guy said, and I was like 18 years old. And he was like, yeah, if you don't go if I don't go every day, if I don't go today or every day, I won't go at all when it comes to the gym. And I was like, that's very unhealthy mindset because you do need to take breaks and things like that. So I took on this mindset that if I don't go every day, then I might not go.
So you took that on?
Yeah, when I was I would go, I was I didn't understand anatomy or physiology at the time. So I probably spent a few years overworking my body.
And stressed.
Yeah, overworking my body. So now looking back on it, I still work out very hard, but I do incorporate stretching and different things like that. Mm-hmm. But it was just something about it made so much sense to me that if you don't go every day, then you'll just stop going. If you don't go that one time, you might not ever go again. And I was like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what started. I think that's probably one of the first times that I can remember me just being this is my path now.
Yeah. Well, that's a very all or nothing way of being. And that's something that so many people, masculine energy people, suffer from, is the all or nothing. I'm going to go all in or I'm not doing it at all. And then, so you can't go all in every single day, all day. You'll burn yourself out. So then people quit all the time. And that's so unhealthy, So you have to, when I had the gym, I felt like I had to go hard because I was like, I can't teach someone to do pull-ups. And then they surpassed me. I'm their teacher. So I was like, I lost a lot of my muscle too. You're funny.
It's no one can be better than me. I'm the best.
But that weird thing gets in your head. You know what I mean? So it's but not that, but I will, and I'm being very honest saying this, I had some beasts that come to my gym. Mm. And if I could teach them and teach them well and they surpassed me, I was so happy for them because I knew it wasn't in my blood to be a beast, Yeah. I'm more of a teacher. Yeah. But I'll do my damnedest to try really, really hard. Yeah. But yeah, I got super happy for them. But I used to have the all or nothing mentality, and it was so unhealthy. Mm. Mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I was just walking around super inflamed and almost in rhabdo all the time, just ready to die. My muscles were gonna just, I don't know.
Your gym was called Rhabdo Fitness.
Yeah. That'd be terrible. Everyone would Google what that means.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
There's definitely I'm not really in the triathlon community anymore, but there was a time where we would joke about that. Yeah. Where people would be like, oh, what color's your urine? Yeah. I drank a gallon of water today and it's still brown. That's not good. Yeah. I'm like, you're winning, man. You're winning. Let's get in the pool.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and then you experience people whose bodies shut down at races and stuff like that. You're like, all right, maybe this stuff's not a joke. Maybe that can happen.
That happened to me.
Not to me. Yeah.
That happened to me. I trained a lot of people to do Spartan races. We would do them together. We came in 4th out of 684 teams.
Nice.
I just have to throw that in there
Damn.
because
He
I
just
never
comes in with the belt.
Yeah.
I never talk about that. You know, I don't know. I just never do. So I'm just going to sit here for a minute and
Bask in my glory.
it was just, I was like super happy, and I wasn't one of the people to get us to that, you know, that number. I had some beasts, you know, like,
That's awesome though.
yeah, but I forget what I was saying with that.
Rhabdo.
Yes,
happened to you.
and like breaking down during a race. So I'm allergic to everything, and the Spartan races are like in the woods, and I love the woods, but like when I'm going really hard and breathing really heavy in the springtime where there's ragweed, and then there are like parts of hay, and I'm very allergic to hay. So I took Benadryl before the race, and Benadryl makes you tired, but I didn't know that it also spiked your heart rate. So a Spartan race is like killer for your heart rate. And I also had like allergy-induced asthma, so it was like taking my inhaler at the same time. So the steroids and the Benadryl and then like the heart going really fast, my body like basically shut down during the race, and I had to have like people just like, I talked myself through that to like get to the finish line. I finally did, but like it was so hard. And here I am, the coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah.
Pushing yourself too hard.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot with like running. I would get myself to like the point of failure and then like prove to myself that I wouldn't quit.
Mm-hmm.
And then like just be like, no, that's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I would get off, or I'd get high from like being like, I made it back.
Yeah.
Be like, I ran stupid far. That was not a good idea.
Yeah.
But like I made it back. And then you would feel like shit for a few days. But you would be like mentally, you'd be like, yep.
Isn't that messed up?
Yeah.
Like I know exactly what that was like my life for so long.
Yeah, like I got in a motorcycle accident in August. I forget what year this was. I just met Ariel. Like we were dating for like a few weeks, and I crashed the shit out of this bike on 95. And luckily, I crashed like I chose to crash because I was going to crash. So like I slid out in a way that was like the best case scenario anyway.
A ragdoll. That's what my husband says. If you're falling, go into a ragdoll mode.
Well, I actually just kind of just like slid on just one side of my body.
Oh, wow.
So I did not ragdoll. Maybe I should have. I don't know. We can go back. And so like my left side just like took like a pretty good beating. And I remember getting up and like it was like in a construction zone. So like my first thought was like just get up and get out of the way because somebody's going to run you the fuck over. Mm-hmm. And luckily like everybody had kind of stopped. But I got to the side. I'm like, oh, dude, I just broke the shit out of my leg and hip. Like this is not good. And luckily I didn't break anything. So, you know, fast forward to that's like the end of August, like the first week of November, we did the Philadelphia Marathon.
Oh my God.
And I was like still not like, and then I was training for that. So like I didn't give my body, like this goes back to like if you don't go every day.
Yeah.
I think I rested for like maybe a few days and then just went back to it slowly and then like ran that and I got through it, but I was like years later I was like, wow, that was like the worst possible decision because like my body was still like purple on one side.
Oh.
So I'm like, damn, I did not. I was with like a physical therapist and they're like, there's something going on with this like leg over here. And I'm like, yeah, I think I know what's going on. And I told them and they're like, no, like, and they explained to me like just like muscles and how it repairs and soft tissue damage and everything. They're like, yeah, your leg's probably screwed for life.
Is
just
it?
Like, oh no, it's fine. Like I can still run and everything, but like there's definitely like that butt cheek and this leg like need a lot more like attention from stretching and things like that.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm a professional stretcher now.
Yay. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
and
pretty good.
foam rolling and stuff?
Oh, yeah, me and the foam roller.
Yes.
My body.
Good for you.
It helps. Do you foam roll?
Sometimes.
Do you have a foam? You have to have a foam roller.
I use it if I ever go to like the gym or something, but I usually use the massage therapy gun. That's what I have.
Nice.
I mean, I stretch a lot, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
I love hearing you guys stretch. So many guys don't stretch.
No, it's super important.
Stretching's not. It's for weak.
Yeah, I do.
I see
before
the
go to
dudes
bed.
at the gym that like don't ever work legs and don't ever stretch, and I'm just like, weak.
Yeah, before I go to bed and every morning I stretch.
Your chicken
People don't
legs.
realize that, like, when you lift your legs, your upper body gets stronger and meatier. They don't realize that.
Well, I always say to people, you wouldn't build a house on a weak foundation.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like you don't like. I want some fucking power legs.
My dad said to me the other day, he's like, think about the wild. The most strongest and fastest animals have the skinniest legs. I was like, wow, you're right.
Mm.
Isn't that interesting?
He's never seen me in the wild.
Oh, that sounds like.
I'm an animal.
I've always hated my legs because they're skinny, but I don't know.
Your legs
You
are
think
skinny?
your legs
Yeah,
are
I have
skinny?
skinny legs.
I wouldn't look at you and say that.
Nah, I wouldn't
I do.
either.
Yeah, my girlfriend loves them. She's like, your legs look like an Italian supercar, and I'm like, what the fuck? Thanks.
What the
That's
hell?
nice.
Yeah, she was like, you have the legs of Ferrari. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh,
but
she
thanks.
loves you.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Yeah, I used to play a lot of soccer, so maybe that like she probably thinks I'm some kind of hot like soccer dude, but I'm not. But thanks. I appreciate
Maybe
that.
You are in her eyes.
you're
Yeah.
Gilmar Superleggera.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I've been like squatting a lot and deadlifting a lot because I want to get my legs and my ass up 'cause I have no ass. So,
Yeah.
I feel like it's helping me with my balance. Like I was terrible at keeping my balance, but ever since I've been doing that, I think I've been focusing more on my strength in my legs, and now I can focus more when I try to do like one-legged like deadlifts and shit like that. Like it's helping me a lot.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because my girlfriend did a lot of yoga, so she can just all day just outbalance me. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like I want to outbalance you one day.
And you smack her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give her a little.
Put your feminine thing in the pocket and just masculine up.
Nah, no way. Nah, no way, dude.
Yeah, I have like a weird relationship with my legs. If we're getting into it, I used to be like, they're so big. Because like you've seen it, like when I start working out hard with my legs, my pants don't fit anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna wear joggers every day. My wife's like, oh, can you wear jeans? I'm like, they don't fit anymore. Because my waist is super small, and then I got like these meat gussets.
Yeah.
I'm
It
just
seems
damn
like
it.
you can put muscle on quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I weighed, I mean, it's probably been over a month, but I put on 10 pounds over in less than a month. Like I weighed like 160, and then I was like, I'm going to get back into lifting. Because I was like just doing other shit in the gym. And then like I weighed myself one day. I'm like, holy shit, I'm over 170. And I was like, that's a lie. And then
That's
I kept looking, and I was like,
cheesesteaks.
boom, I'm
Cheesesteak.
That's not
170.
squatting. You can't put on 10 pounds in one. That's cheesesteaks.
Cheesesteaks.
No,
I'm kidding.
I was cheesesteaks at 160 and looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I was literally like Friday night on the way to Kauai Tori. I changed my shirt and I looked in the mirror and I was like, something's happening here. And I said to my wife, and she's like, yeah, well, the other day, that's why I asked. I approached it sensitively. I don't think you understood what I was saying. And I was like, she literally came to me with like maybe a week before, and she's like, do you think the workout program you're doing is working? And I was like, yes. And then I like looked in the mirror and I was like, this is not working. And I just wasn't doing it like thoroughly enough. I wasn't doing like the whole thing. I would just kind of like fuck off at the gym.
Yeah.
Be like, people were texting me. And then I just took it super serious and I got beefy.
Yeah, you did, dude.
It happened.
Do you think it was because she said that to you? Then you like put your time in?
No, because when she said that to me, I completely was like, it's working. And then the following Friday, I was like looking at myself. I was like sideways, like, what is this? What is happening here? I felt like Tim Allen and Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Jailing himself. I was like, damn it.
It's hilarious.
And I was like super angry with myself. And I just like cleaned up the diet and then started hard on the supplements.
Yeah.
Not the Mexican supplements.
No.
It wasn't fake.
American-made suppies.
American-made suppies.
Oh, yeah, dude.
All protein. So when you did, like, you were talking about, like, your team. Do you have any aliens on your team? Is this, like, Space Jam?
Yes, I believe I do, yes.
Yeah. How, like, what do you believe, like, are we talking, like, E.T., like, aliens? Or do you believe in, like, multi-dimensional, you know, beings that, like, exist amongst us, but they're just kind of, like, in a different level? So, like, I guess, like, are these aliens from other planets? Or are these aliens that, like, previously inhabited Earth that kind of, like, you know, evolved past it? Like, what do you think that all is?
I believe all of that exists.
Okay.
You know, and it just depends on what type of species you're talking about. But I believe it is all a yes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it makes complete sense because I'm like, there's not a lot of people that can like indulge me in these types of conversations because like I've gone down like the Anunnaki train and like I've asked questions like when you start going on these journeys, you're like, there has to be more to all of this than just like there was a bang and then, you know, a few million later there were people and then we evolved. It's like with like the archaeological finds and different, you know, ancient architecture and technologies, like it makes more sense to me that there was an intelligent being that we interacted with at some point to kind of like help us along on this journey. And then it also makes a lot of sense to me that like, for instance, everybody's like, well, if that was the case, you know, where's all the records? And I'm like, well, what if we had a solar flare right now? Where would all of our records be? They would just like ruin every computer on Earth. So like, what if like previously on Earth, either humans or a different life form evolved and then just like everything they had, like the technology they had is like gone now. And like you have things like the Amazon the Amazon rainforest is not naturally a rainforest. Like the Amazon grew into what it is because of like man-made irrigation channels that were left behind and forgotten. And then the forest grew around all of that. So without that like man or whatever influence to create all of that, like for the water to travel to those areas, like that massive forest would have never grown. So I'm like, what if there was something there, some sort of like sophisticated civilization that like either died from disease or just left the planet or something happened, whatever happened to them. And then the Earth took back that area. And like now they're finding like all kinds of like structures in the Amazon that I've forgotten because you can't see it with satellites and different things like that. So I'm like, dude, something else was here either before us or came here.
Have you ever heard of Atlantis?
Yeah.
So like the Lemurian beings were on Atlantis, and it's been said that all of their information and their technology is now in Lemurian crystals. And so the crystals have these like barcodes. They're like little ridges. And it's said that when you go in meditation, you rub your thumbs on it, you'll be able to pick up on the energy and the information in them. So I totally believe in that. I think that there's, our Earth holds so much information inside it in inner Earth. I think there's colonies in inner Earth of beings in there right now that create a whole ecosystem off of sound. So they create their own sunlight, they create their own plants and gardens and off of sound and vibration.
Now we're getting into the weeds.
Yeah,
I like this.
I could go for hours talking about this.
Part 2.
Yeah. Like I love this stuff.
So like inner Earth, like why would they have to go into the inner Earth?
I think that they were in inner Earth way before we were on the outside of Earth.
So it's kind of like what civilizations are living in inner Earth? Are they like humanoids? Are they like a different type of things that like
hybrids and humanoids? Yeah. And there's all different kinds. I mean, like if you were to like the normal grays will go to inner Earth sometimes. Like there's light beings that go there. I think that there's, I mean, like I can't even tell you how many different species there are of aliens out there. Like, because even in, so like I described the ocean thing, right, with spirit guides. It's kind of like the same thing. Like if you think of aliens, how many different creatures are in the ocean? That's the same way of aliens, but that's just in this dimension. Okay, so now we have so many other dimensions on top of that. In each dimension, there's different types of things that can live in that vibrational dimension. So they're multidimensional. So that means that they can leave one of their dimensions and come into 3D and then go back up into their 12th dimension if they want to. So, so many different beings come here to see what's going on with Earth. How are we screwing it up? How are we healing it? What are our emotions doing with it? Are we planting the right seeds? And, you know, they'll come and they'll teach us, they'll learn off of us, they'll drop, you know, codes, light codes and healing codes for us, because if we sit there and we do better as a planet, they do better as a species, because it's a ripple effect. So like if you were to heal yourself, then you would, you know, help your wife, then you would help your family, and then your friends and your community. So it's a ripple effect with everything. So they want us, they see that we're in the third dimension. They see that we're not doing that great. And so they just want to come here and visit us and like try to get the multiverse to get better. And then there's polarity. So that means that there's also different type of energies out there too that don't want us to succeed. You know, so there's aliens that I believe are malevolent and benevolent.
So are they really aliens then if they're like from here? Or are they just alien to us?
Oh, I see. Like being born in inner Earth or whatever.
Yeah. Like, is that...
I mean, I think that they're alien to us, but they are multidimensional. We are multidimensional as well, but I think that they have way more access to other information and technology that we don't.
Is that because, like, do you think that's because they've, like, evolved past what our existence is? Or do you think that's just, like, there's always been this, like, separation of, like, inner Earth and third dimension?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that there's a separation, but I think at the same time there isn't. You know, we are all, every one of us, every being from every multiverse, we are all connected through the cosmic web. So the cosmic web is basically, if you think of like this huge spider web, and you think of every, you know, one of those strands like goes into my heart, into your heart, into his heart, and everywhere. So, and it all is filaments, and it's...
So you're talking about like quantum.
Yeah, quantum physics. And so your energy feeds into the cosmic web. Mine does too. And that's how I'm able to energetically pick up on you and you and you and all that. So even though they're multidimensional and maybe from, you know, a different density or from inner Earth, we're still connected. We're not separate. So that's how they're able to talk to us telepathically. You know?
Do you know anything about quantum?
Not much, no.
It gets crazy.
Yeah, it's wild stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you're essentially made up of like the same things that I am.
Oh, in that sense, yes. I'm sorry.
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
my things should be able to communicate to your things.
Mm-hmm.
Once I learned all that stuff, I'm like, damn, I went to school for the wrong stuff.
Yeah, we're all just made of the same shit.
So
we're so connected to the earth and shit.
So then like what happens like when we're drilling for oil or things like that? Like can we reach inner Earth? Like theoretically, like would there be a way for us to like drill a hole and like hop down it like Mario or Luigi and just kind of like pop up into this different area, or like
I'm not about I'm not sure about inner Earth, if you could go down into that, but I think that you could, like if on Mount Shasta, there's definitely doors with portals and or like different ways that you could take an elevator down into the, you know, Mount Shasta, what goes on in there. Like there's so many Antarctica, there's so many places on our planet where other civilizations live that we're not fully aware of.
yeah, because isn't like Antarctica, isn't it like forbidden to go there without?
Because there's so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that? Like if you want a permit to go visit, you need to get like a permit to go to Antarctica.
I think there's a certain part of Antarctica you can't fly over or something like that. I think it's
I'm
restricted.
like, this is why we need to get all of the money and just fly down there without permits.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of flat Earth theories where people are like, oh yeah, because that's the Arctic wall, like that's where the Earth stops, or some fucking crazy shit. And I'm like, okay, cool.
The Earth isn't flat, is it?
What do you think?
You tell me. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Antarctica. Just get down there and just dig around a little bit.
I mean, and there's oceans underneath the oceans. You know,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's pretty wild. I mean, our planet is so rad, but yeah. So I mean, like I think that aliens have been working with us for centuries.
Since the beginning. Like, do you subscribe to like mushroom theory, where like humans discovered mushrooms and like that developed our brains into like the sophisticated things now that we have?
I wouldn't say it's just from mushrooms. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know too much about that.
Yeah, the whole idea is that like and it's like written about in the Bible, like different things that like were like we used hallucinogenics to kind of like open our perception of like reality and like what was going on around us, whereas like before we like whatever, I don't think they were Homo sapiens at that time. I think it was like a different humanoid that we evolved from, that they ate the mushrooms and like over, you know, millions of years or however long, like those hallucinogenic experiences allowed them to kind of like develop their perception of like what is self, what is like reality, what is around me, before they were just kind of like animals that were just like not, you know, like dogs, for instance. Like they don't, perhaps, I think dogs are pretty deep, but people, you know, they only, you know, associate like, I'm going to eat, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to do this. Like they're not thinking, like my dog's not thinking about like, you know, what goals he has.
It's like instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I wouldn't think it was just from that. I think it's kind of like the 100th monkey type situation, you know?
What do you think about like aquatic ape theory? Do you know about that?
A little bit.
Where it's just like mermaids and things like that. Like, do you believe in mermaids?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes sense when you get into the science of it. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But like if you get into the science that like the aquatic ape theory, that like if we evolved on land to be, you know, hyper performative here, that like why couldn't we also evolve to like adapt into water and like mermaids?
So mermaids are definitely part of people's spirit teams and spirit guides. And same with animals, you know, same with elves and fairies, and I've seen it all. Like if you think that you have a guardian angel, I, you know, believe everyone's born with a guardian angel, just like a spirit guide. Why are people having a hard time believing that a gnome or a fairy exists? You know, and they're called elemental guides. And I've worked with them so much, you know.
So do you believe in a God then? Or are you just...
I do. I was raised Catholic, and then I went to like a non-denominational Christian church for a little while. Yeah, I believe that there's a higher power. I believe, but I don't believe he's separate from us. I believe that there's the energy of him within all of us as well. So like if something's wrong, like some people only pray to God when their back is up against the wall. And to me, every day I say what I'm grateful for to God. And then...
To God specifically, or to like the higher power?
To the higher power.
Like is your God like the biblical God, or
it's
is
a
it...
higher power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a higher power. It's universal. And then I believe that our spirit guides were, you know how we're saying that you're born with 1 to 2 and then until you die. I believe that they were assigned to you for a reason. So it's like, then I'll go to him for like my spirit team for my personal stuff that I want help with, because they're assigned to me. So I'm going to use them, you know. But to God, I a lot of times I just like say thank you and I'm grateful, you know. And sometimes if my back's up against the wall, I'll go to him, you know.
Interesting. Do you know anything about like this, I forget what company it is, but there's like the Particle Accelerator that's in Switzerland that just started back up?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about like us messing around with like trying to create like new subatomic particles and things like that?
I think it's dumb.
It's a bad idea.
It's like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why things like Stranger Things exist. Did you guys watch that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course. So it's like, I think that if they're going to do that, they should open up their business model for many different types of scientists or different types of thinking to be on board. People who can read energy. Like, I think it's dumb.
Do you know anything about the particle reactor? I think it's...
They're trying to find a God particle.
I forget what it is, but if you look up like particle accelerator... CERN. Yeah.
CERN. It's in Switzerland.
Yeah, so this thing is like they had it shut down for a while, and they fired it back up like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And in the first week, they discovered like 15 new subatomic particles. Yeah. They're basically trying to look for like multi-dimensional, like it's just kind of crazy things. And the more and more I learned about like, I went down kind of a rabbit hole, but the more I learned about what they're doing, and I'm like, how is no one being like, yeah, something could go wrong here?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's like, what if you tore a hole in like space-time? Like, it's like just messing around with that level of energy that we have no idea about, that we like arrogantly think we know about. Yeah. It's kind of like,
it's kind of scary. And
just finished watching Stranger Things. So how possibly wrong could this go?
Right. And it's kind of like, we as a collective feel that energy.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. Like,
well, just dumb. And I'm not saying like, I just don't know, but they fired this thing back up, and then like all of a sudden it's like not raining anymore, or like all this other chaotic things start happening. It's like, I don't know if you can like attribute that to CERN and the particle accelerator, but it kind of
makes sense.
It kind of just like this thing I was reading was like correlating. Sorry, Corona. It was just like correlating all of these other things that started happening or happened since they fired this up, and like how it could have happened. And I was like, I hope this isn't true. It's like one of those things where it's like, you're like, I hope this isn't true.
So with that being said, how do you feel about CRISPR and, the
gene editing?
Yeah, the gene editing they're doing. Do you know much about that?
No.
So there's a software, I guess it's like a technology called CRISPR in Asia, where they're literally like figuring out ways to like, if you want your baby to have different color eyes or different like they're basically genetic splicing at like pre-birth. So they're like inseminating and like modifying that DNA pre-insemination so that like you give birth to like gene specific things.
I did hear about this. And
they're having success with it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think there's something that's going to go wrong. Like, it's just...
I've seen this sci-fi movie,
Yeah. It's like a Black Mirror episode.
Kind of is, yeah. I think their goal with that is to have not recessive, but the genes that would say like a diabetic gene or something, to remove that and remove diseases from,
Yeah, but it's like funded with military dollars.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So it's super soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's not like, it's like, we're going to fix all this other stuff, but we're also going to make super soldiers. And then we've got like a bunch of Chinese super soldiers on our beaches, and we're arguing over like Roe v. Wade here. It's like, oh fuck, we're not gonna win this.
They're running 1,000 miles an hour. You're like, what the fuck?
Like, God damn it!
It's fucking Transformers.
I'm gonna be down in the fucking next. I'm gonna dig a hole to fucking the other beings.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna live down there.
Aliens
to the
are
other
come,
beings.
Yeah, aliens gonna come down us again, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what if there's like animal. I don't know what to call them, so I'm just going with the other beings for now.
The other beings.
Yeah.
That works.
We're gonna start digging tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. I wonder how deep down they are.
I'll come with my shovel.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
That'd be crazy.
But I mean, I think we would be more effective if we just look up and we set intentions.
Okay.
I think we'll see that way easier.
Yeah.
This would happen. A spirit guide person with a spirit guide can direct us in the right.
Yeah.
That's why I brought you in to tell us, like, are we looking down? Are we looking up? Where are we looking?
I mean, I think it would be easier to look up.
There you go.
Unless you have like the best shovel in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
My masculine brain says I do.
I saw your wheels turning.
I was like, what kind of shovels can I get my hands on?
Yeah.
Damn, this has been awesome.
Yeah. Well, we've
Super
been on.
fun.
We've been on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, or like how do people get in touch with you? Is Instagram the best?
Yeah, Spiro on Instagram is the best. SPIRO. Spiro.I.breathe.
Yeah.
That's on Instagram.
And people can like hire you through here? Or?
Yeah, just go on the link tree. You'll find, so I have a membership site, and then I have energetic upgrades, which are psychic and mediumship readings and chakra healings, life coaching.
And do you like come to people for that, or they come to you, or?
They come to me.
Okay.
We do everything usually on Zoom. Just because my schedule is nuts with, the
You're really
businesses
busy.
and my kids, and I tend to get busy. I
Yeah.
tend to get pretty busy. It
Well, that's
depends
awesome.
on the time of year as well.
Okay.
But when we were heavy in COVID for about 2 years straight, I was booked out about 6-7 weeks in advance all the time.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
it was.
awesome.
Well, I think a lot of people were scared.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, I think that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think people are still kind of scared, but they're dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think that we're getting like, numb in a way. Not
Mm.
really, but kind of like, here we go again. We're just gonna get hit with a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff is coming up.
Yeah.
So, just heavy hitters.
Damn, dude, we got a particle accelerator, a bunch of stuff's coming up.
Christopher.
Get the guns.
I think we have a good 2 to 4 more years of like heavy hitters coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Anything we should be looking out for? Or we got to come to you?
As a collective, I think that we should all be looking at the sacral chakra more, which is all about sexuality and relationships and your passion and creativity and health.
Mm.
So that's all in the sacral chakra. And I think that there's a lot of stuff that needs to come to the surface that's like wounded masculine sexual energy, like sex trafficking and, that kind of stuff. Like that has to come to the surface because that's like the number one thing that's like fueling so much that we don't know about.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's get the guns.
Let's get the guns.
We'll put the shovels down.
Yeah.
Side quest.
Yeah, we're shooting up, not down, boy.
Or sideways. I don't know.
Or sideways, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Or that's not awesome, but you're awesome.
Yeah, you're awesome.
This was
Thanks for having me,
this was definitely, I don't want to offend anybody else, but who knows who's listening at this deep into the podcast, but this was definitely top 3
Yeah.
Oh,
podcasts.
wow.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a bad.
Because the podcast is completely selfish. And it's like, if me and Gilmar have a good time, then we just think that, everybody else, if they matter, will have a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm just very like, we're not done here.
Yeah, no.
We definitely have to have like,
I'll come back and play.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great time.
I'm very glad we met you. I feel good about this episode.
Yeah,
Thank
same.
you.
Hit the subscribe button. We got into the weeds.
Yeah.
And, so Spiro.
Spiro.
Oh yeah.
It's Latin for I breathe.
Oh. Look at that.
Layers.
Yeah, we have on our family shield. It's while I breathe, I hope. Dum Spiro Sparrow in Latin. So my dad had it tattooed on his arm when he went into the military in case he lost his dog tags.
Mm.
So my sister and I got that on us when we turned 18, 19, I forget.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I always wanted to name my business Spiro because you have to breathe through every situation. You have to breathe to live.
Right.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yay, thanks,
And
guys.
then, Gilmar, do you have anything to say? I feel like I got to go recharge.
No, I mean.
Did I drain your energy?
No, I just want to go down and start Googling things.
I feel really chill.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah,
This was good.
Yeah, this is nice.
So hit the subscribe button and follow us on the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back next week
Yeah.
with
Thanks,
Mikey.
guys.